For the first time in 3 stormy days, Ernest Danino and his customs agents can go back out on patrol. They're looking primarily for contraband cigarettes, which are cheaper in this British overseas territory, so they're often smuggled into Spain. The Spanish authorities are also on the lookout.
We try and stay in each other's waters. Sometimes that doesn't happen, especially from their side. But we have a good working relationship when it comes to anti-smuggling and rescue operations. On the day-to-day patrolling, we have very little contact with the Spanish authorities.
But there are contacts which are not so friendly as well?
Sometimes, yes.
To Danino and every Gibraltarian, the border is a symbol of 300 years of friction between Spain and Britain. In the 18th century, the Spanish laid siege to the rock twice, attempting to recapture it by force. In 1969, Spanish dictator Francisco Franco closed the border completely and imposed an economic blockade. For 17 years, the peninsula had to be supplied by sea and air. Ernest Danino remembers that era and has no desire to see it repeated. One reason he and 96% of Gibraltar voted against Brexit. The EU means advantages such as an open border for labor, trade, and tourism, the very opposite of renewed isolation. Danino's friend Paul Cartwright works for Gibraltar's government. He also sees Brexit as a mistake. But worse, he says, is that Spain, of all countries, is to be given a say in Gibraltar's future as part of the Brexit negotiations.
We have to kick the EU out of Gibraltar. We don't mind as long as we remain British and not Spanish in any way whatsoever. We would never ever contemplate sharing any type of sovereignty with Spain. Maybe with any other nation in the world, but not with Spain.
Our fears is we're gonna spoil something that works. There's an old saying, if it works, why mend it? And it's working, we are thriving, we're a thriving small nation against all odds. And we don't need this threat to sovereignty. I think Spain is going to do its utmost to gain as much. I understand, I don't at all sympathize with it, but I understand they're going to use this unnecessary tool to try and get a foot into Gibraltar. And it is quite scary to all of us.
Spain is making efforts to dispel the fears of the local population. So far, Madrid has only demanded joint use of the peninsula's airport and more cooperation on offshore tax evasion. But many Gibraltarians see even that as interference in their sovereignty. The customs agents also have to monitor the land border. And if Spain vetoes all the Brexit agreements concerning Gibraltar, conditions here could change drastically.
The delays would be exaggerated. This border would be treated like a completely outside of Europe border. 100% checks, which would really stop the flow of people, which is the idea of the European Union, of having free flow borders. And that would be stopped. The commercial side as well could be affected, and many Spaniards, our friends across the border who work here, would be affected seriously, yes.
Danino and his partner check out the construction site for a new airport building and tourist facilities right by the border fence. Brexit could render major investments in the future redundant.
We are thriving at the moment, and that is the problem, that if we are out of Europe, if the border gets hard, if we haven't got an agreement and they tighten the screw on us, we will lose what we've worked hard to gain at the moment.
Whatever the future holds, the people of Gibraltar are used to weathering turbulent times.